this guy. Remember, curiosity killed the cat and will make me late. I said, I want to see how he accounts for the kids. My mind ran through scenarios of what could happen once we made our move. Crowds of tourists, kids in danger. The complications made me shudder. The other two members of our task force, Anthony Chileo, who worked for the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives, ATF, and Lorena Perez, a Florida Department of Law Enforcement, FDLE agent, were also lurking in the area. I used my police radio to urge everyone to be alert and gave a detailed description of the suspect. Stephanie said in a sing-song voice, "Sounds like you're trying to impress someone." "You're the only one I ever try to impress." That made her smile, which seemed to brighten the whole room. Chapter 2. After I made detective, I realized that different law enforcement agencies always talk shit about one another. Here's the first joke I heard an FBI agent tell. "What's blue and white and sleeps for?" "A Miami police patrol cruiser." Made me laugh, if I'm being honest. But sometimes the suspicion among agencies came from genuine issues, like the one I was having now with customs. These agents at the airport had their own little fiefdom. They didn't care about how we gathered evidence for different crimes. They liked things quick and simple. You're smuggling contraband, we seize it, you plead guilty, case closed. I tried to keep things pleasant. I turned to the customs man and said, "Someone from the task force needs to lay hands on him before you guys." "Ah, politics. I guess I shouldn't be shocked the FBI wants to get some publicity from this." The supervisor gave me a dirty look, yanked a radio from his belt and said, "Raul, pull the guy with the 2 kids out of line 3. The guy who looks like a reject from some half-assed American bandstand. The one wearing the wannabe Gators jacket." I guess he showed me. I looked out over the crowd. At least I had a good view of the room. There were only a few people as tall as me, and we all stuck out like giraffes. There were Europeans eager to get out in the sun, Americans returning from vacations in Europe, and rising heat in a room where too many people had been pushed in too quickly. I watched as a lanky customs officer in a rumpled blue uniform, Raul, stepped away from a back wall. I followed him. A guy my size can usually cut through a crowd, but these were people escaping U.S. Customs. Before I could even squeeze past the first heavyset tourist coming to visit America's most exotic city, the customs agent was already making contact with the suspect, waving him over. It looked casual at best. Raul clearly didn't know the circumstances of the crime. The Dutch suspect had the children behind him when he stepped up to the customs agent. Without telegraphing his intentions, Nobler headbutted Raul. Soccer moves to match the jacket. Then he punched the stunned customs man in the throat and drove his whole body into Raul's long, lanky frame. As I stood helplessly watching, Nobler somehow managed to get a hand on Raul's pistol. He had it out of his holster before the customs agent flopped onto the cracked tile floor, gasping for air. I turned to the supervisor and said, "I think your man just made my point for me. Now this asshole is armed. Cover the exits, quick." Nobler frantically searched for a way out of the crowded room, then pointed the semi-automatic pistol into the air and fired twice. The rounds sounded like bombs in the enclosed space. The smell of gunpowder quickly reached my nose. When my hearing returned to normal after the gunshots, I heard the higher pitch of screams as the shocked crowd realized what was happening. Soon, the whole place sounded like a police siren wailing. People scurried in every direction without regard for where the danger was coming from. I'd seen it 100 times. Panic caused more panic, and few people used common sense. I broke free of the lines, entering passport control. Steph Hall right behind me. We both sprinted, trying to catch the suspect, who knocked down about 4 people as he fled. The sight of the armed man made everyone panic even more, and the crowd parted in a wave to get away from the guy holding the gun. I caught a glimpse of Nobler just in time to see him find an open